what was really important for our founders was to continue to live their passion of sailing and their passion of the ocean.
Yeah.
But they want, as you told, a better future.
Yeah.
And that's the way they choose to do it.
Welcome on board. Welcome to Vindelo. This is a really, really innovative boat. It's really great because it has been built with sustainability in mind. And the thing that caught my eye when we were preparing for this interview is they talk about the way that this boat sails incredibly well under low winds. It's very light. So even when you don't have much wind at all, you don't need to turn on any motors. Of course, when you do turn the motors on, they're electric here. We've got two 20 kilowatt electric propulsions. But just like any sailor knows, a good sailor most of the time is only going to be using those motors to get in and out of the harbour. At the same time, if you do have a day where there's no wind at all and you just want to move, which happens, then you've also got these solar panels here. They're walkable. You can walk on top of these solar panels. That's creating enough energy to charge the batteries. And these batteries have got enough capacity for you to drive with 6 knots, which is pretty respectable. 6 knots for 4 hours on pure electric without turning the emergency generator on. So that's the great thing about the boat. We're going to listen to a really, really great story now from their marketing manager, Julie, and she's going to tell us the whole history of the boat. And then I'm going to give you a little walk around and tell you some more about what's happening downstairs. Julie Hosier, thank you so much for finding the time for us today on this amazing boat. This is a story of a family who weren't satisfied with what they could buy, built something amazing and decided to share it with the world. How did that happen?
In fact, Gauthier and his father, Olivier, were looking for building their own catamarans for the family. And they wanted something much more sustainable because it's an important part of their family story. With a boat which is much more performance to enjoy the sail also, even in light winds. And also a boat with a lot of space on board, with a lot of natural lights to don't feel so crowded. And that's how Windelo was created. And they build the boat, work with also some architects, and say, okay, let's share it to the community of sailors.
And I think the whole thing started on the top of a volcanic island. So
Exactly.
Yeah, is that right?
Olivier, the father, was doing, when he was 20 years old, a boat stop tour. They went to Windelo and they see this beautiful beach. And they say, whoa, what is it? These reflections. And when they came to the beach, it was on, in fact, plastic bottles.
So that was creating like the light effect on the beach?
Exactly. So they say, oh, this is really awful. So it's an important part for their family story, and he always teach about sustainable things and recycle about his kids. And in 27, they say, okay, let's build our own catamarans. And in 2018, they say, okay, let's create the company and share these boats.
Okay. And this is so great because once you created something special for yourself, there are so many people out there, they have something for themselves. You know, I mean, when you look at the very big boats over there, I'm not a big fan, I'm a sustainability fan, you know, but when you look at the very big boats over there, you know, the whole thing is set up to make it feel exclusive, only by invitation and things like this. But to actually create something beautiful like this and then want to share it with others, I mean, that makes a special person, right?
Exactly. If you want to speak about the constructions, we had 2 years of research with the chercheur of the Mindales. It's an injury school in south of France. And we developed an eco-composite made in basalt fibre. So basalt, you know, it's a volcanic rock. So it needs 10 times less energy and water to be transformed in a fiber comparing to glass fiber. And the sandwich of the composite is made also with the PET foam, so from plastic bottle that you recycle. And it saves 47% our carbon impact for the construction.
For the actual manufacturing, the scope 1 of the boat. I mean, this is brilliant. This really is, or scope 1 and scope 2 in that case.
And for the use of the boats, we really decided to have a performance catamaran because you don't need to motoring a lot if you are sailing with 3 or 4 knots of winds. And if you need to motoring your boat, it's with electric engines. So you have 2 times 20 kilowatts in these boats for 54 feet. And for example, if you are going at 6 knots
Yeah.
of during motoring,
Yeah.
you will need only 6 kilowatts of power per engine.
So how long could you actually drive on pure electric? You know, if there's
Pure
no
electric,
wind.
it will be approximately 4 hours at 6 knots.
Okay.
And if you need more,
Yeah.
you will have a genset as a backup with diesel, of course.
Okay.
But it's also safety.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we're talking about a boat here. We've done a lot of films about sustainable aviation. And, you know, boats aren't quite the same as being in the air, but you don't want to run out of power in the middle of an ocean,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, very, very important for us, the sustainable part.
Okay, then. Okay. And I mean, the great thing as well, of course, about, you know, an electric motor-driven vehicle is there are less parts to go wrong as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And actually using it, I mean, it must be so silent, right? You've got a light boat with an electric propulsion, no?
What is really nice is that if you want something sustainable, you have 2 points. The performance, but also comfort, because you have no noise, no smell, nothing.
Yeah.
So you can motor in your boat at night and be sleeping with no noise. That's really pure lux.
Or if you arrive in the harbour late at night, you're not going to be disturbing everyone else. Right? There's nothing worse than you just got your head down, you're just falling asleep, and then next to you.
And even to protect the ocean. And fish and so on.
Yeah, the whales as well,
really
right?
nice.
That's a big thing with the noise and whales, yeah? Yeah, I'll never forget, we actually sailed not far away from here. We chartered a boat, went to Corsica for a couple of weeks and came back again. On the way back, we had a whale next to our boat. And it was such a beautiful experience. But when you know, I mean, we were under sail, so I hope we didn't disturb the whale. But when you know that the whales are actually being disturbed by all of the motors and the engines out there, it's brilliant. It really is. Yeah.
And this boat also have a lot of innovation on board. The family is really interesting about innovation. That's why also they created these boats. So you maybe notice it, but the cockpit is not at the back, but it's at the front.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's really innovative. All the space have been redesigned to have one new space that you can use as inside or outside according the window and door that you can open or close. That also something saving a lot of weight.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't have to have two sitting areas, right? Yeah, I see. So I did wonder about those front cockpits, because I assume you can like open everything up when it's good weather, but you can also close it down when it's bad weather, right?
Definitely. So you can even sail in winter time with strong weather and be totally safe and not exposed to all the elements.
And is this just a coconut root boat, or could you actually take one of these up and, you know, into the cold areas as well? Or?
Definitely.
Okay, then. Excellent.
We have some clients, for example, we did an Atlantic tour from the north. So they went to the Caribbean and also go to US, Canada, Iceland. They came back in Europe from Scotland and England, for example.
Okay. Well, I studied in Scotland. It doesn't get much colder than that.
Definitely. And right now we have some clients in Norway. So
Okay, then. Excellent. And what are your favorite features on the boat? What's the thing you like the most? I mean, we got the Ford. Are you a sailor yourself, by the way, Julie? Or?
I'm not a sailor, but I'm used to sailing this boat.
Used to being on the boat,
as I'm in charge of marketing and communication. But what I prefer is really the forward cockpit. Because you are right in the middle of the boat, so right in the center of gravity. You have less move than if you was at the back. For me, it's really much more safe. And you see everything from there, from the back or the front of the boat. You see all the sails and you are protected. So this is really nice. And if you want to just feel the wind, you open it and you feel the wind. So
and I'm just
that's
looking
really
up,
amazing.
You've got like those skylights there, so you can actually see what's happening with the sail above you, right? Excellent. And how many berths do we have on this boat? We just met the guy. We're not going to mention his name, but we just met the guy you built this for. He seems pretty excited.
Definitely.
Is he going to sail this home after the fair, or is he? Yeah, really? Wow, that's amazing.
So
he doesn't live in Europe. I'm just telling you that much. Yeah. Okay.
This boat is a 3 cabin.
Yeah.
So you have a full honor hall with the bed. Lounge area, storage, bathroom, toilet, and so on. And you also have 2 guest cabin. You can have, for example, a double bed, bunk bed, office, workshop. It's really built when it's ordered to personalize the boat.
Do you know one thing that I've always wondered on, like boats of this size, there's never a gym. Like you just get the feeling, because like whenever you watch those influencer videos, I mean, they are all ripped, and I'm thinking it must be when you're sailing you get fit, right? Because nobody ever wants to have a gym downstairs. You'd think somebody would have like a exercise bike or like a few dumbbells
We
or
have
something.
some clients like that.
They do, yeah. Really, it happens. Okay, they just don't sell the boats. That's
It is both.
okay then. Excellent. And so tell me, you've got this boat. Do you have other hulls as well? Is there, there are other? Obviously, you've built more than one. How many boats have you built?
We are building between 10 and 20 boats per year.
Okay.
And right now we have 25 boats sailing around the world.
Okay.
And we have a 50 and a 54 feet.
Okay.
And we just announced the launch of a 58 and 62.
Wow. So they're enormous boats then, right?
Yeah, much more bigger.
Yeah. And it's beautiful really just to see that, what we always say at Progress Factors, it's about making sustainability the better option. Yeah. We don't want to become sustainable with a bad compromise. We want to make the world better.
Exactly.
And make it sustainable.
Yeah.
And it seems like, just as we were on a hydrogen power boat this morning, it's just over there. Fantastic company. So, for us, we sail on a lake, Lake Constance. And, when the motorboats are up and down, we always say, why are they using that carbon technology? Now we can actually go on a motorboat with a good conscience. Yeah. We can have a 58-foot boat with a good conscience, right?
Yeah. What was really important for our founders was to continue to live their passion of sailing and their passion of the ocean. Yeah. But they want, as you told, a better future. Yeah. And that's the way they choose to do it.
Excellent. All right then. Well, is there anything else that we didn't ask you about that you'd like to tell us about this boat?
I think it's okay.
We got everything already? Well, Julie, I really, really do. The only thing that disappoints me is you're not related to the other hosier, the singer, but apart from that.
Sorry about that.
No, joking aside, it's been a really wonderful interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for you coming on board.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So great to have spoken to Julie. Windelo's not just about innovation for the sake of sustainability, it's about innovation to create a better experience. And one of the other things that they've changed here, which you won't see very often, is we've actually got this forward cockpit. So come and have a look what's happening downstairs. Normally on a catamaran, you'll find that the cockpit, so wherever you're actually going to be steering the boat, it's going to be somewhere more towards the back. Some of them have them right at the top of the boat. Some of them have them on this deck, on the kind of the living deck of the boat. Some of them even have them in kind of a mezzanine halfway in between. And this one, we've got the two cockpit wheels, and they've moved kind of to the middle of the boat, which is at the front of the whole living area. And so we can open all this up if we want to have some wind, but of course if we are living on a boat, which a lot of people who buy this actually will do, and we have bad weather, then we have the ability to keep moving in bad weather with everything closed up, and we're also still connected to the living area that's also inside. You don't have to go outside to do the sailing. You can have a look up here as well, and through these skylights you can actually see what's happening with your sails as well, which might not sound that important, but for anyone who's been sailing, you know that being able to see what's happening in your sails is the most important thing. You can have all the best fancy instruments in the world, and they've got some great Garmin stuff going on over here. You can have all the best fancy instruments in the world, but you also need to see what's happening up there. They say that catamarans are sailed by numbers. You need the instruments, but looking up and seeing what's happening in the sails is something that no sailor wants to miss. I tell you what, I could move in here tomorrow. I mean, well done to Vindelo. And well done to the guy we met earlier on, the guy who's had this boat commissioned. We know the guy who's going to be sailing away with this at the end of the fair. And well done to you. You know who you are. I'm not going to mention your name. But I can just imagine you're sitting there, reading a book, or maybe just looking out at the wide ocean on that bed there. It's just a great livable area. The cabins downstairs, really well done, really nice. But the thing that I love about this Vindelo boat is it was born sustainably. It was born out of a sustainable dream. A family wanted to make a boat for themselves and decided they're going to keep making those boats for other people as well. By putting sustainability as the first principle, we've got a boat here that sails particularly well in light winds. It doesn't matter whether you like electric propulsion or diesel propulsion. Anyone who sails a boat says you'd like to have the sail up there as much as you possibly can. And that's what this boat has done particularly well, is in every principle they said, how do we make it sustainable? And then they've made it better. This is not a bad compromise. This is the future. Well done, Vindelo, and thank you for your time today.